Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. So glad you could join us. So today we're taking out one of my absolute favorite ships in the game, the Tier 7 premium German battleship, the Scharnhorst. So what makes this my favorite ship? The Scharnhorst is a bit of a unique snowflake, if you will. It does a lot of weird things that other battleships don't. It's about kind of a mashup between a cruiser and a battleship. It's fairly fast on its feet, it's extremely agile, it has much larger guns than your typical cruiser, but it has much smaller guns than your typical battleship. It has 11-inch guns. Most of the other battleships around your tier will have anywhere from 14, 15, or 16-inch guns, and those guns pack a lot bigger wallop. Where you'll see this right here. Double Citadel on a full broadside cruiser. If I had been a Colorado or a Nagato with their big 16-inch guns, that cruiser probably would have been one-shotted or damn near it. Instead, I took about half his life. However, I can fire these guns every 20 seconds. Faster if you, like I do, run Adrenaline Rush, and as you slowly take damage, you get an increase to your reload rate. Other things that make it interesting. It does have torpedoes. If memory serves correct, they go 6 kilometers. They hit medium power. They're nothing special, but they do make you a close-range brawling threat. It has pretty good secondaries. Granted, again, not quite as good as what you would get on the Tirpitz or the Bismarck for that matter, but they're better than most of the US and Japanese counterparts. And I also use the same captain that I do on my Tirpitz as on my Scharnhorst, so I've got increased range and everything. And here we get to see some of the increased mobility and maneuverability, and just easily slide right past those torpedoes. Another thing that makes the Scharnhorst particularly interesting is its armor. It does have turtleback armor, and here you'll see, I'm talking about those guns, full broadside battleship, equal tier. Okay, that's a reasonable hit, right? If I was a cruiser. If I was a battleship, we'd be talking about how many citadels had I just gotten. The Scharnhorst does have a difficulty, even on full broadside battleships, getting any kind of citadels. You'll see I aim a little bit higher than the waterline, so that I'm hitting like the square of its hull and some of the superstructure, and I'm getting consistent damage. And I think that's where a lot of new Scharnhorst captains kind of fail, and they kind of give up on the ship. But you saw that right there? And you'll keep seeing this here in this little sequence here where I've got several battleships all gunning for me. The armor on the Scharnhorst is rather unique in my opinion. It is exceptionally strong on the side of the ship if you angle. Head on, it will take consistent damage. Full flat broadside, it will take very large chunks of damage. But here you see almost no damage. And they're just unloading on me. I mean, these are much bigger guns that are coming in, and you see my hit point pool, and you see his. I mean, that wasn't all me, but I mean, how much damage do I have up there at the top? 50,000 already? Yeah, it's very tanky, very trolly armor, if you know how to angle right. Its maneuverability is also a really big factor, and here AP shells just bounce, 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 bounce. Get, you know, a couple pens, some bounces on that, and you'll notice also that, you know, the caliber guns, even on cruisers, you know, if you don't hit it quite right, they'll bounce your shells. So here I know there's some destroyers in the area. I'm backing up, I'm changing my speed and direction, I'm making them miss me. The fact that I'm maneuverable and I'm fast in the water, I can just make them miss their shots and keep myself angled against all these ships. Even though he's firing HE, the other ones were not. And some nice, more consistent damage. And again, it's very rare in the Scharnhorst to get those gigantic shots on enemies. But you can fire quick enough, and they're fairly accurate, at least for German battleship guns, that you can just consistently do damage. And again, aiming at this battleship, I aim a little above the waterline. I'm aiming for the square of his hull. And yeah, a nice big shot right there. His incoming shots bounce. I'm already firing, getting ready to fire again. There we go. Oh, there's one of the destroyers. So we're going to cut the engine and make a sharp turn in, because I'm sure that if he was willing to let himself be spotted, there's torpedoes in the water, and you saw how very fast that I was able to turn there. Looks like I need to give it a little bit more power, and yeah, we're gonna avoid that. Line up my next shot and fire away. And I'm absolutely leading this charge. The Scharnhorst is very, very good. That damage was not done by me. Somebody else citadeled him. The Scharnhorst is very good at moving with the group. It's fast enough to keep up with your friendly cruisers, and because of its faster fire rate, you actually are fairly effective against these weaving, dodging cruisers, and even for that matter, destroyers. Because you have smaller caliber, and here we go, bounce, bounce, bounce. Because you have smaller caliber guns, more bounces, you can consistently do pretty good damage against cruisers and even destroyers, just for the fact that your guns aren't, the shells aren't so big that they'll just punch right through. You'll get consistent, just normal penetrations against them. And on the Scharnhorst, I've done some massive shots on destroyers. So now that that corner of the map has been pretty much cleared up, except for that destroyer, which I'm not fast enough to, you know, actually go after and chase down, I'm going to then turn my attention to the objective and help out in here. And there's a nice squishy little French cruiser in there. Those things are made of tinfoil. He thinks the island's going to save him. I'm kind of seeing if I can maybe shoot over the island. Maybe. Well, let's just keep pushing in. Plus, I'm putting distance between me and that enemy destroyer who's obviously gunning for me. He's already sent at least 2 volleys of torpedoes that I've seen at me. Maybe there was another. It was just so wide they didn't even get spotted, or I didn't notice them. What else we got? He's way off in the distance. There's, you know, clearly that French cruiser is in there and capping, and I would love nothing more than to go in and pressure him and force him not to. And there he is. Alright. Looks like he's going to panic because he's spotted now. And I have plenty of teammates off to my right and directly behind me, so he is going to have to either give me broadside or give them broadside. And he's turning, so I'm actually going to hold my fire. Again, they're not the highest caliber guns, so firing at an angled cruiser, even a French one, can result in bounces, and in fact I just get a couple overpens and he gets off pretty scot-free. Just 2 enemy destroyers, oh goodness. Alright, so I'm going to change directions, and I really shouldn't have, because I guess I'd already changed enough direction that he was going to miss me. But looks like we're going to get away with just... no. Got him. Dodge the torpedoes, and the secondaries get the oh my god. Wow. So not only do I pull an epic torpedo beat there, but I got a double kill. Oh man. Yeah, I get a little shot on that destroyer. He's gonna run. Long story short is this game's basically over at this point, and it was a very fast game. My team moved up as a group. I vanguarded it, and I find a lot of games. You know how, like, nobody wants to be in first, nobody wants to, you know, I find a lot of games on my Scharnhorst I have to be the first one in. But the thing is, though, is if somebody on your team sees, you know, a Scharnhorst, or for that matter a battleship, or for that matter anybody going in first, they, oddly enough, suddenly start getting very brave, and they will tend to follow you. It's not guaranteed. I'm not telling you, like, I'm not promising you, like, well, Valkyrie said that if I went in first, everyone would follow me. You still have to use a modicum of common sense. If you're clearly YOLO charging the brunt of their entire force, and your team does not have the numbers, yeah, they'd be kind of stupid to follow you in if you were stupid enough to YOLO charge at them. But on that one, we had plenty of teammates, and everyone wanted to kind of hang back. You noticed, like, at no point, I think, did we have any teammates ahead of us. So Now they're all suddenly brave and everything because, you know, they see 4 enemies left and we've only lost 1 friendly. Well, yeah, I'd be brave too at that point. But it's definitely a good ship to escort the cruisers in. It's much tankier than the cruisers are. It has slightly bigger guns than the cruiser is. But really, it's the survivability, the self-heal, the really high armor amounts. The torpedoes make it very dangerous at close range. And as you just saw, the secondaries, which are actually somewhat effective, even without manual secondaries. The AA is not bad. It's not nearly as good as, like, say, the Colorado, but it's not bad. You can definitely defend yourself, and the fact that you're that mobile and that agile, you can dodge a lot of carriers. So how'd we do? Well, actually not too bad. Considering it was such a short game, we did 81,500 damage, we got a couple citadels, 4 kills, a double strike close quarters expert. I will take that any day. Base XP, nothing really to write home about. I mean, at the same time, again, it was a very short game. The one big thing to really take away is look at the potential damage is just over 1 million potential damage of incoming fire at me. But damage received was only 11,000 damage, which is really a testament to just the sheer survivability and the role that I played in the win on this game, rather than just pure raw damage. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time, folks.